Yo, 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 good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brian Forbes, and you have joined the Black Factor, and we are on the air. We are live. I want to welcome my so smooth radio family on this simulcast Wednesday. Thank you all for showing up and showing out like you always do. Tonight, we got a lot to cover, y'all. It's been a few days since we've been on the air, unfortunately. But, we've had some technical difficulties. The technical difficulties of the health variety. Yeah, it's been like that, y'all. Big Nate Hampton checking in. Thank you, my brother, for coming to see about your boy. Val Wells, my number one fan, is in the building. Hey, Val. It's the Black Factor, y'all, where perspective is everything. We got the news that you can use now. And just for the record, the truth never cares about your opinion. So, or anybody else's for that matter. Not even mine. The truth don't care about my opinion. So I'm going to tell y'all to open this show like I always do. Let me just tell you right off the top. Don't believe nothing I say. Check for yourself. Listen to what I say, but check it for yourself. Make sure that you hold me accountable. See, that's something we don't have these days, people being held accountable. Hold me accountable for the words that come out of my mouth and the things that you hear on this show. And although it is live, it is also recorded, and you can catch it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and other outlets. And please know that they are words that are trapped in posterity. They are videotaped with full disclosure and transparency so that you can go back and fact check the things that I say. Don't forget to check my podcast now, y'all. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and Radio Public. Just for the record, I want y'all to remember you got to support black media. So hit the like button, subscribe button, the share button, the join button, hit your notification button, and hit all of the buttons so you can make sure that you get what we got to give you, y'all. Jaquilla Hughes. She jumping on me, y'all. I think she's saying what everybody was thinking. She said, "Excuse me, what happened to you on Monday, sir?" Jaquilla, I apologize, my dear, but that's another story for another day. But I'm here now, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what matters. Let me start this show by pointing out something that I think is very critical, and that is if you are a person who may not be of the black persuasion. If you are a person who is not black, if you have a friend or you have a black friend and you do not understand or care to understand your black friend's pain and struggle that black people are currently under, and you don't empathize or sympathize, then you don't have a black friend. What you have is a black person that you know. And if you really want to find out anything, take the time to get to know what's going on. And that's for my other folks. Now, right off the top, let me start by saying, ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Giuliani. Y'all remember we did a whole show where I talked about Rudy Giuliani's career and all of the crazy things that he has done in the past, and particularly the legacy that he once had that he has pretty much tossed into the toilet in support of our last president. Well, the chickens are beginning to come home to roost once again. And it appears that the feds have kicked in his doors today and raided his home and his business and taken away lots of electronic devices in regard to some other things. And I suspect that we're going to be hearing more about this in the near future. And of course, he's going to say that he has done nothing wrong as usual. And that's fine. Most criminals say that it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. They always plead innocent unless they're caught literally red-handed with their hand in the cookie jar. But that's okay. His day is coming. I told y'all this was going to happen. You know, the wheels of justice, They turn very, very slowly sometimes, but they always manage to continue to grind. And I believe that these wheels of justice are grinding on my man's bones right now. So, but I mean, it had to happen. You can't continue to do the things that you do, and then you didn't get a pardon from your boy. He left you out there hanging out in the wind, flapping around. So you know what's next, right? Regina Freeman in the building. Thank you for checking in, my dear. Diane Lewis, I see you. Let's see who else we got in. Man, so many people y'all checking in. I appreciate you. Brian Carradine, Big Butch. That's my law enforcement correspondent right there, Mr. Big Butch, Big Brian Big Butch Carradine. Right quick, little fun fact. May not be much fun, but I'm gonna spit it out there anyway. Did you know that the city where Dante Wright was killed by Kim Porter, y'all remember the police officer who couldn't remember which one was the gun and which one was the taser? That was in Brooklyn City, Minnesota. Well, I found out that that particular city, ladies and gentlemen, was founded by this gentleman, who just so happened to be the sheriff, Sheriff Earl Brown, back in 1911, and also a Ku Klux Klan member. He was a Klan member and the sheriff, and he founded the little town where Dante Wright was murdered by the police officer who couldn't figure out which one was the gun and which one was the taser. Interesting little tidbit. I just thought that y'all might... It's not funny. I'm sorry. But next time you up that way, don't forget to visit the Earl Brown Heritage Center or the Earl Brown Tower. And you might want to get yourself an apartment at the Earl Brown Farm Apartments near Earl Brown Drive in Brooklyn City, Minnesota. I'm just saying. Now, I got this thing, y'all, that just pissed me off. Like, this just really pissed me off, y'all. Right quick. Let me transition this. So Facebook sends me this note the other day attached to a photograph that I posted back in 2017. It says, "We had to remove something you posted. There are certain kinds of posts about suicide, self-injury that we don't allow on Facebook because we want to promote a safe environment. You can learn more about this in our community standards. If you're going through a difficult time, we want to share the ways we can find to support you." Now, that would be a nice heartfelt message if it weren't for the fact that this was what I posted. Does that look like suicide to you, ladies and gentlemen? For my Oh So Smooth Radio family that are listening in on the show, I want to point out, because you're listening and when you're not watching, I'm going to tell you this is a photograph of a lynching where there are two black bodies hanging from a tree, strange fruit, if you will. And the white people, in all of their glee and all of their self-righteousness, pointing up at these dead bodies, and the children smiling, and the young lady, they're very happy. They're very gleeful in their support of this sort of behavior and treatment of black people here in America. But Facebook decided to take it upon themselves to tell me that this was a depiction of suicide. Now, Facebook need to get their stuff together. It's an insult. It's a slap in the face, and it is a direct attack on the narrative and narratives that take place in this country consistently that I personally am tired of watching, witnessing, and listening to. I am tired. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asked just a few minutes ago by one of my Black Factor family here, why was I not on Monday? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm tired, y'all. I've had quite enough. This thing has gotten ridiculous to the point of we clearly understand what's happening in this country. But actually, let me back that up. I say we clearly understand what's happening in this country, but I truly and honestly don't believe that many of us do. There's a reckoning happening. There's a reckoning coming. Now, there's this Virginia cop that I just found out about the other day who was fired from his job in Norfolk. Now, not just a Virginia cop, but a high-ranking internal affairs officer who was terminated from his job. And why? Why was he terminated from his job? See, this is where we get into the narrative. This is where we get into the part where it talks about breaking black people. See, I wasn't on the show on Monday because I have to really take time sometimes and think about the things that I say on this show and the way that I feel about the things that I say. In fact, I won't be broken. I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that the people who follow this show and who listen to me and heed my words are not broken. This Virginia cop was terminated from his position as a high-ranking internal affairs officer because he donated $25 to the defense fund of Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, if you don't remember who Kyle Rittenhouse is, that is the young man, the 17-year-old, who took what the media described as his long gun, which any other time, if there's a mass shooting, it's called an AR-15, an assault rifle. And he attended a protest claiming that he was going to be there to protect property. He wanted to protect other people's property. Something he's never paid a tax on, something he's never owned, something he's never been a part of. But he was there to protect people's property from who? Protesters. Now, let's be honest. His very first mistake was he was not supposed to have that weapon by law. Legally, he could not own or handle that weapon without adult supervision. And if there was an adult around, then they should have also been charged. Anyway, this underage mass shooter, who is now being deemed a hero by conservatives and in fact in many conservative religious circles, the officer who is supposedly entrusted with upholding the laws in Virginia thought it was personally necessary to help this young man to defend himself against prosecution. Let's think about that. A high-ranking police official helped to pay expenses for a criminal to defend himself against the system that he is sworn to uphold. Well, he doesn't have to worry about it anymore because he's been terminated. But it makes you ask yourself why. See, but it goes back to the shows that we've done in the past where I specifically talk about law enforcement's involvement in the breaking of black people, where law enforcement got its roots, where law enforcement has taken us, and where we are headed if we're not very, very careful. We are at a crossroad in America where we actually have an opportunity to make a difference and to make change and to do things that are going to be beneficial to us. But unfortunately, so many of us have bought into being broken. They have spent so much time and energy breaking us that we have now adopted their behaviors and have learned to break ourselves. I know that may sound harsh, but it's true. It's so true. Dana Brock says Facebook, Google, and others like them are most certainly engaged in keeping it white and right. Absolutely. But here's a thought, and this occurred to me today while I was talking about the thinking about all of these things, and I got to talking about this. I was watching the news, and they were talking about the insurrection, and they were showing this footage of the Brian Sicknick, who ended up dead behind the insurrection at the Capitol. Dennis McCullum said the Klan don't harm Klan. Absolutely right. In fact, they do everything they can to help them, regardless of their so-called oaths. They don't have any oaths to anyone or allegiances except themselves. But here, think about this, y'all. Let's take Kyle Rittenhouse, their hero, their legend in the making, their martyr, their man who was the one who got out there and got on the front line and did the thing for their causes. Let's take Kyle Rittenhouse away from Kenosha, Wisconsin on August 25th of 2020. And let's place him in Washington, D.C. on January 6th of 2021 with the same attitude, with the same gun, and the same resolve, and turn him loose there. Think about that. Would these people still be saying he's a patriot, he's a hero, he's a legend in the making now? Would they be supporting like the My Pillow man? Funny, you don't see those commercials on anymore. Mr. My Pillow, who is one of the and that other guy from that TV show, they raised all this money for his defense and for him to get out of jail, and they put up $2 million for his bond. Imagine, let's put Kyle Rittenhouse at the Capitol January 6th, 2021. See, let's see if the tables then turn. Let's see if the attitudes and the feelings remain the same. I have a strong suspicion things would be very, very different. If he was there to protect the property from rioters, if he was there to uphold the law from rioters and protesters. See, hey, but I'm crazy, right? He'd still be a hero, right? These same insurrectionists, these are the same ones who claims he's a hero. Now, let's not forget he murdered 2 people in the streets, but he's being called a legend and a hero by law enforcement and so-called patriots. See, I don't even want to hear that word anymore. I don't even like that word anymore. Patriot. This is what a patriot is. You get to kill people in this country for voicing their opinion because the laws are constantly set against those who simply want to live their lives. And what do I mean by laws being set simply for those who want to live their lives? I'm going to give you a real good example in 1 minute. See, this is about breaking black people. Lieutenant William Kelly of the Norfolk PD, he decided to send his $25 anonymous donation to Kyle Rittenhouse Defense Fund. And the message that he sent with his payment: God bless. Thank you for your courage. Keep your head up. You've done nothing wrong. This is from a high-ranking police official in Norfolk, Virginia, a place that has a reputation for being racist within their police departments. However, I have to applaud the Norfolk city manager, Chip Filer, for taking the time out. And he did say that the egregious comments of this officer erode the trust between the Norfolk Police Department and those they are sworn to protect. So I give him mad credit for that. At least they decided to sort of do the right thing. Now, what did I mean earlier when I said because the laws are a direct hit when it comes to breaking black folks? I'm going to give you a real good example, because this is the part that pisses me off the most. And, you know, right now, we're going through a situation with voting rights. They lost. So guess what? We cannot beat you. So now we're going to change the rules. Champaign, Washington is in the building. I see you, Champaign. Andrew, my man Andrew Allen. AAA is in the building as well. Dennis McCullum. I want to thank y'all for checking in. And all my Oh So Smooth radio family, I see y'all. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Lindo Daniels, very, very good to see you. Diane Lewis. We got a whole bunch of good folks in the building. I want to welcome everybody to the Black Factor. Here's the deal, y'all. When they can't beat you, they have to change the rules. That includes the laws by which we live every single day. Why? Because if we are expected to fail and we don't, they have to find another way to stop you. They always have to find another way. But the funny part is that we don't make the rules, but we always find ourselves begging them to change their rules to accommodate us. Y'all know that's not going to happen. How many times have you heard me say power concedes nothing without demand? That will always be true. No one is going to willingly give you any of their power. They're going to make the rules to accommodate themselves. I see you, Riri. Thank you for checking in, my dear. Let's take Simone Biles, for example. Do y'all know who Simone Biles is? Simone Biles, the gymnast, the world champion gymnast, who is so good at what she does that the Gymnastics Federation literally had to downgrade some of the tricks that she does because there is no one else in the world. Y'all hear what I said? The whole globe who can do what she does. So in order to even the playing field, they had to adjust the rules. In other words, dumb yourself down, Negro, because the rest of us can't hang. We can't compete with that. So in my research today, in looking into this, I found out another little fun fact that I was not aware of, and I'm going to bring it to your attention. Did y'all know that the NBA and the NCAA literally changed rules in basketball because of Will Chamberlain? One man. One man is responsible for making 5 rule changes. Offensive goaltending, defensive goaltending, size of the lane and paint, free throw shooting, and inbounding the ball. All 5 of these rules were changed because of one man. Now, what does that tell you? Oh, we got to change the game because we can't win against him if the rules remain the same. In 1964, trying to stop Chamberlain, the NBA widened the lane area from 12 feet to 16. During his time at the University of Kansas, teammates were throwing alley-oop passes over the top of the backboard from just behind it so Wilt could make dunks. The NCAA changed this rule, too, after watching the big advantage Wilt had. One of the most incredible stories about Wilt Chamberlain is how he shot free throws. He made the shot, jumped from behind the free throw line, and slammed the ball through the basket before his feet touched the ground. He didn't touch any part of the lane area while the ball went through the rim. So that wasn't a violation. That created another rule that says players cannot cross the lane of a free throw line even if your feet are not touching the ground until the ball hits the rim and passes through the basket. Just to give you an example, The laws in this country are constantly changed for those same reasons. The laws in this country have been changed repeatedly for those same reasons. And the funny thing is, the more educated we've become, and the more we learn the rules, and the more we play by those rules set by them, when they realize that we've learned the rules and we become better players at those rules, then they have to change the rules. Why? See, step your game up. That's what you need to do. But we know that's not going to happen. See, that's called intimidation. They will not be intimidated. So their job is to intimidate the rest of us. They've done this with voting rights. They go and they gerrymander. They create new districts. They require things of people that they know people of color are going to struggle to obtain in order to vote. Follow the rules. Oh, we lost. Oh, we got to. Oh, okay. All right. Not let's get better. Let's change the rules. See, but you have to remember one thing. We don't make any of the rules. When anytime anybody decides they want to claim that black people have the ability to be racist, I want you to ask them, when is the last time black people had the opportunity or the ability to make any of the rules that make the decisions about where we live, about where we go, about how much we get paid? And that list, of course, goes on and on and on. We don't make those rules. Those rules are set by social standards set by a group of people who are and want to, as much as possible, remain in control. And every little bit of that control they feel themselves losing and they feel slipping away is the reason why you're watching and witnessing what we're watching and witnessing right now, while we're watching a black man's family struggle for something as simple as transparency and honesty from people who were sworn to serve and protect. But guess what? We already know when those rules were written about men in this country, inalienable rights and things of that nature, black men and women were still in chains. This system was never intended for us to be a part of it. So there's no need in us becoming upset when it doesn't work in our favor. It's especially ridiculous for us to become upset with it not working in our favor if we are not participating within it in order to change it. Do you not understand that the way every opportunity that we've had historically to change things for ourselves in this country have been destroyed, not from outside, but from within? We will infiltrate it at every turn. Every time you see a situation where black people begun to band together, begun to work toward a common goal of justice, equality, just life, it has always been infiltrated from the inside by other black people, sent by none other than white people. And it is that black and white. It is as simple as that. And let me reiterate what I said at the opening of this show. Don't trust anything I'm saying. You don't believe me? Look it up. There's not one organization that you're going to find within these United States that has been born to benefit black people and their wellness that had not been infiltrated and destroyed from within by the powers that be. And it really is as simple as that. The entire work of those in this country has been about crippling and breaking the backs of black people, breaking black people. And they'll always, and every time you point out these atrocities, every time you point out what's going on, they're going to say you're a racist for bringing it up. Black people did not create racism. Black people do not control racism. Black people do not have the power to eliminate racism. That is not a fight we need to be fighting. That we need to be very clear about. We have to stop following the narratives that we are being fed. And we believe that we have to fight racism. No, we don't. What we have to do is band together and work together to make things happen. Y'all know what buck breaking is? I think we went over this on a show some time ago. Buck breaking. The use of sexual violence against enslaved men as a punishment for wrongdoing or intimidating other slaves. Weaponized sexual violence. It's kind of like the weaponized ignorance that we suffer from today. Now, this thing has been swept under the rug as though it didn't exist. But this particular technique was used on male slaves when they were defiant. See, now they have other ways of making examples of black males who are defiant. Mr. Brown, for example, who was shot to death, executed, while fleeing because he was trying not to be dead, because he was being shot at. But he was being defiant. So they killed him. The slave owner would force a slave, a black man, to lower his pants, then bend over a stump to make sure that his ass was propped up in the air. He would then beat the black man enough so that he was weak and couldn't fight. See how that works? I know that if I had to stand in front of you, black man, and fight you for your virtue, I would lose. So I make you bend over with other masters around at gunpoint at the end of a whip, and I beat you the only way that I can physically, so that I can now break you in front of all of those who might think about looking up to you as a strong black man. Any of those who might think of placing you on a pedestal as a strong black man. I'm going to beat you so you can't resist this rape I'm about to put on you. So the white slave owner would then proceed to rape this black man several times after he's beaten him to break him. And if not break him physically, but psychologically, spiritually, and in front of his family, children, woman, other slaves. See, these things metaphorically are still taking place. The family of Andrew Brown are going through a buck-breaking session right now. They're being told, we don't care what you want. We're not interested in your needs. We're going to protect our white officers, our what appear to be murderers, from society, from the system, from any ability for you uppity Negroes to get at them. Why? Because White is right. Doesn't matter if it's murder. They don't care. Why? Because we talking about North Carolina. We talking about a place where slavery and the ideology that goes with it is still in effect. I mean, let's look at it for what it is. They're still breaking black people. There's 1,000 ways being used today. We have everything all the way back from, let's just go to the welfare system. We just move all the way up to that. I'm going to skip over all of the Jim Crow and all the other stuff. Welfare system put into place in America so that the black woman is left alone in the home to fend for herself so that her government white daddy can take care of her, but her man can be nowhere around. You can't come there. You can't be with your kids. You can't do any of the things. You can't give her any money because then we're going to cut her off. See? We're going to make sure there's no resources and no jobs in your community. We're going to make sure that every time you walk down the street that you're harassed. And the list just goes on and on and on and on. I'm going to say it again. Don't believe me. Look these things up. The truth doesn't care about your opinion. The truth only cares about the truth. There are so many examples of what amounts to the breaking of black people in America. Black folks is tired, y'all. Think we've had enough. I think that I'm tired of watching black people beg and plead for justice. I'm tired of watching this black family in North Carolina beg for a judge to do what should have been done anyway. What is the whole point in having cameras and so-called transparency and all these other things when they then decide what you could see, when you could see it, and how you can see it? So we're going to take all of the white men's faces out. Let's protect the white men. We're going to cover up all of their guns. You can't see what kind of guns they're carrying. They're assault rifles for an unarmed black man. They stood up in court today and said that he made contact with officers with his car, which is why they began shooting. But my question is, if that is true, why not release the video? If everything they said in court today was true, why not let the rest of the world see it? Clearly, the same way they did with the young lady in Ohio. The police department was very swift about producing a video and saying that that officer was well within his right to protect human life. That which I have no disagreement with. There are those who are, and don't get it twisted, I do still feel that, it is unfortunate that every time deadly force is used, it always seems to be one of ours. I've yet to see any white folks jump up and complain or have to jump up and complain anywhere in America about their loved one being murdered unarmed by law enforcement. Why is that? We're tired. You put your hands up, they shoot you. You put your hands down, they shoot you. You comply, they shoot you. You complain, they shoot you. What's next? I'm not going to say it, but I'm guarantee you, I know y'all got to know what I'm thinking. People are tired. But this is America. This is nothing more than a microcosm of a much larger issue. And that is the attitude of the American people and those who stand idly by, silently, watching these things take place and do nothing. Those who have the power to make the change. And they don't look nothing like none of us. This is by design, y'all. None of this is going to change. Time for talking and begging and pleading is coming to an end. Everything about this country has almost always operated in violence, intimidation, and use of the law in order to break black people, in order to keep black folks in their place. And it's all rooted in hatred. It always has been and it always will be. You can change all the laws you want in this country, but what you can't do is change the hearts of men. You just can't. No matter how bad we want it, no matter how much we sit here and go, why would they do that? Why would we want to be this or that? They're not going to change. They're not going to be us. They're not going to think the way we do. They have no incentive to do anything different than what they're doing right now. They will continue to change the laws to benefit them. They will continue to change voting to benefit them. They will continue to make every change of the rules that benefits them because they are losers. Only losers focus on the fact that they lost and they can't do anything about it. So they do something about it. Why? Because they have that power. Power that concedes nothing without demand. The part that bothers me the most is that this same attitude has been taught to so many of us, and we embrace it. They don't even have to work as hard anymore because there are enough of us doing our own dirty work and infiltrating our own organizations and groups and ideas and thoughts. So much so that they don't even have to do the work anymore. We've become masters at breaking ourselves, buying into their narratives and systems. The very systems that were never built to benefit us. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, still in 2021, have designs within them to keep black folks enslaved. But we don't see that part. The ignorance of it all has been so well weaponized. We don't see it. It's not an accident, y'all. This is not. And every time you bring it up or you mention it or you say anything about it, you're a racist. Somebody white is probably watching this show right now thinking, what a racist piece of shit. Of course they're going to think that because I'm speaking against the very institution that keeps them in the position to feel superior. Until the lion learns to tell the story, the hunter will always be the hero. This is all about power and control. So the judge today in the Brown case has stated that they will release the video to one family member to view and a lawyer. No less than 30 days and no more than 45 days. See how they put that rule in place to protect themselves, not the public, not the interest of fairness, justice, equality, to protect themselves. If what they've done was so right, why do they have to hide it? If everything that they did was by the book, and whatever the lawyer claimed today, saying that the officers had been basically attacked by this unarmed man with a car, why not show that to the world? Why not stop the pain and the madness for that family? Why? Because there's a cover-up. They know it's a cover-up. They need to continue to control the narrative. Again, it's all about breaking people. They keep the control over the story. At least they're trying to keep control over the story. It's going to come out. And some of those officers are going to jail. See, remember what I said at the top of the show. The wheels of justice sometimes are very, very slow to turn. But one thing you got to remember, they never stop turning. They will grind whomever is out there. The time is coming. Those officers, few of them going to jail. The Justice Department has picked up this case for civil rights violations. Or a couple of them going to jail. We're in a different time. North Carolina may think, or that particular judge and that attorney general or district attorney may think they have that good old boy control that they once had. But what you're not going to do is break black folks the way you think you are, the way you used to. All you're going to do is continue to make the wheels of justice grind and grind and grind and make it work against you. It's been historically proven. How many times have we discussed on this show where somebody has tried to keep black folks in a certain place and it always end up coming back around to get them? It's going to get them again. It ain't going to happen right when we want it to, but it's going to happen when it's supposed to. See, North Carolina is no different than any of the other states. They don't investigate officer shootings any differently. They want to pretend they do, but this is no different than anything else. So why prolong the agony? You want to give these gentlemen a few more weeks and months with their families before they're prosecuted? You know, two of the cops quit already. One retired. What does that tell you? You want to get him a head start? Is that what we're doing here? See, change the rules. Let's make the rules so that it benefits us regardless of our wrongdoing. Because I can tell you right now, if somebody was shooting at me the way it was told by one side. See, they don't want to tell. See, they don't want to tell the part they want to tell. They were shooting at the man before he ever moved the car. Of course he should. I would run too. But the lawyer got in there today and said that they weren't shooting before he moved the car. I say, why not release the video and let's see when the shot started? Or do they want to doctor the video first? Do they want to edit the video first? They've already redacted, muted, blurred, and done all sorts of other things to this video. I hope they do, and I hope they get caught, and I hope they all go to jail for obstruction of justice, among other things, even the people who weren't there. North Carolina is so disrespectful. Doesn't take 45 days, y'all. This is a cover-up. This is very much like the Laquan McDonald situation. Laquan McDonald. Oh, they all stood out there and lied and said that man swung a knife at them and a bunch of other stuff. And it turns out that he was just shot down in cold blood. Yep, that's what this is going to turn into. Another Laquan McDonald situation. This is America. How dare black people demand anything? How dare you ask for anything? How dare you expect justice? How dare you? You're the wrong complexion for the connection. This is America. Control the narrative. Control the people. And those you can't control, break them. This is America. This is Southern America, on the southern side of the Mason-Dixon line. You do realize that as a black person now, y'all are not allowed to you're not allowed to defend yourself ever. Dennis McCullum said they were getting payoff for him as a drug dealer and didn't want him to talk, so they went and purposely killed him. There's a thought. See, in America, if you're black, you don't get to defend yourself. According to white people, pointing out racism makes you a racist. According to white folks, if you protest and demand change, you're a parasite. Unless, of course, you were at the Capitol on January 6th. Then you're a patriot. This is America. You are defensive, you are a threat. Of course, if your skin is dark, you're a threat anyway. Let's not forget, black skin is weaponized, it's criminalized. This is why a police officer can't figure out the difference between her gun and her taser, because she's so scared of the black skin. Because they're so deadly. Oh my God, black people. Oh, run. I don't recall watching a crowd of black people standing beneath any tree with a white person hanging from it. I don't recall any black people tying a white person to a bumper and dragging them for miles. I don't recall any black people attacking and destroying any towns belonging to white people in America ever. And oh, by the way, for no reason whatsoever, because they don't like the idea that black people have what they have and actually worked and got what they got. And now today the narrative is, get a job. Y'all are lazy. It's amazing. Oh, you're too good. Your gymnastics is, it's just too good. We got to change the rules. Your basketball, your game is so, we got to change the rules. We don't want you living by us. The government's going to sponsor a red line. You can't live in this neighborhood. No, you the wrong color. Not you don't have a right job. Not you don't, have the, hell, I can't even think of nothing else. You just the wrong color. You can't live here. I don't recall black folks ever making any of those rules. I don't recall black people ever killing white people for wanting to vote. Hiding bodies. Lynching. Tying a cotton gin fan around the neck of a 14-year-old and throwing him in the lake, a river. I don't recall black people doing any of that. But we're the violent ones. I don't see black folks going and shooting up schools. I don't see black folks doing any of these extra violent things. When I do see black people rioting and doing the things that white people are so offended by today, destroying property. Let's talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's talk about all of the destruction that they're responsible for. Let's talk about Wilmington, North Carolina. Let's talk about all of the destruction that they've been responsible for the last 120, 30, 40, 50 years. And then you want to talk to me about some storefronts in a city because injustice was the reason for the melee. Man, miss me with that nonsense. White people don't take no responsibility nor accountability for anything they do. Their sole responsibility is to keep black folks broke. Break you, break them, keep them there. Lie, cheat, steal, change rules, kill and destroy. All legal because they make the laws. And we've been taught not to participate to change the laws. We've been taught to help destroy ourselves. Right now, they're hiding all the evidence to keep themselves from being incriminated and doing the wrong thing. Always protect that blue line of silence, that blue wall, because that's the wall between them and us. And there is no such thing as a blue life, because you could take that uniform off anytime you're ready. This right here, it ain't going nowhere. We don't get to take that off. It's not how this works. One thing I find very interesting, conservatives seem to hate unions so much. What are they waiting for to get rid of the police unions? Imagine that. That ain't gonna happen, y'all. You know that, right? Lynching is alive and well in America. They just lynched a man in North Carolina last week. The only difference is they got their blurs over their faces. Those are nothing but hoods. That's their hood. That's the way they protect themselves and one another. We all know, just like Earl Brown, who founded the town where Dante Wright was murdered by a cop, KKK member. Weaponized ignorance. Cognitive dissonance is real. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told you I'm tired. I'm very tired now. Don't forget to get your copy of The Black Factor. bmforbes.com. I'm working on a new one now, y'all, because I'm getting to the point I can't keep talking about this. I got to put it all on paper. I got to put it in a book again. So, Deborah Scruggs says, started as slave catchers. Yes, ma'am. We did a whole show on it, and I am going to do a follow-up show on that particular topic because that is a hot one, and you are absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. My Oh So Smooth radio family, thank you for tuning in on this Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Black Factor family, thank you for coming and hanging out with your partner. We're going to keep it under an hour because we're going to listen to the nonsense that's about to be spewed from the White House in just a few minutes so we can keep up with all of the BS and ballyhoo. I want everybody to have yourselves a wonderful evening. Thank you and good night. Let me back up because I'm gonna have some people get at me if I don't do this. Love, peace, and chicken grease, y'all.